Okay, so it's 6 o'clock, so I'm gonna get started, and I think if anyone else comes in late, they'll get let in. So I'll explain to you what this is all about. Thank you everyone for joining us. This is all about exploring careers in digital and tech. Uh, it's going to be an hour. I'm going to talk you through various things to do with the project that we're running called the Digital Futures Accelerator project. That is an East Sussex project that I'll tell you all about in a moment. We'll talk about digital careers, some jobs in digital, pathways in, and some options for post 16 pathways to get yourself into those careers. So this is very much for it can be for young people, can be for parents, can be for careers advisors, school teachers, anyone who's interested in a digital career. So our mission with the Digital Futures Accelerator project is to help young people explore digital careers and get into digital careers through learning pathways in East Sussex. It's part of a national project, which I'll tell you about in a moment. My name's Dan Warman. I am a founder of Tech Native Digital, and we are leading on the delivery side of the Digital Futures Accelerator project in partnership with Skills East Sussex and the East Sussex Careers Hub. And it's funded by the Careers and Enterprise Company. We're very much all about doing, and we're running an East Sussex-based competition, which I'll tell you about in a second, to help young people actually get real life experience of working in digital. So it's all about teamwork, creativity, problem solving, and developing some tech skills whilst making it fun and engaging for young people, and trying to broaden people's insight of what careers and digital careers can be. So, as I said, the Digital Futures Accelerator project is actually a national project. There's 8 of them nationally. We were lucky enough to be awarded one of those 8 national projects in East Sussex. So it's a digital innovation competition. It's all about team projects where students collaborate to solve real world problems, to design products and pitch ideas, to create brands, websites, and business cases. And we're very much all about engaging with industry. So it's about bringing industry support in. Each school that participates in the project is matched with a mentor, and they come from across the whole digital sector, from digital marketing, from website development, from business leadership, from user experience design, from film and TV, and all sorts of different areas in digital. And that's really part of our ethos, is that we want to bring industry and education much closer together. So the schools that are participating in the project is Peacehaven, Bexhill, Uckfield, Saxon Mount, East Sussex College Group, Robertsbridge, and DV8 Sussex. So it's a mixture of post 16 providers, colleges, and schools taking part. So we're really excited about this. And they're a few weeks into their projects. They're all busy designing their projects at the moment. So the webinar is not really only about that. It's really as part of the project we want to open up everybody's mind in East Sussex about the potential careers that young people can have. So I'll talk you through the tech sector and the digital sector and what that actually means. And sometimes it means a bit different to what people think it means. So the UK tech sector is actually a really big global success story. It's the 3rd largest globally tech sector, which, if you think about the size of the UK, is really punching above our weight, with only US and China having a bigger tech economy than us. The average salary for software developers is about 44k, which is well above national average. They're expected to continue growing, and they've been going up higher than the rest of the other sectors in terms of relatively. So it's a good place to start thinking about getting your career. There are jobs there. It's a growing sector. There's a real need for skilled people, and our young people in Sussex, there's no reason why they couldn't go through into having amazing careers, and we want to help them do that. AI is absolutely everywhere in the news or in every report about tech skills and digital. So cloud tools, automation is absolutely everywhere. Sorry, I should have actually mentioned at the beginning, there's a Q&A at the top. You should have a button to say Q&A. even though everyone's cameras are off and you can't, there's no chat. If you want to ask any questions of us, please do. Please put it in the Q&A, and at the end we'll come back to all the questions, and we'll try and answer everyone's questions. If we can't, we'll try and get back to you somehow, and we'll be sending out these slides and everything else. So AI tools, cloud tools, and automation are really changing, and they're going to be changing jobs. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And this thing about low code revolution with these platforms like Canva, Gamma, and Cursor, which I'll talk about in a little bit, are sort of democratizing, I think, skills in digital and opening up digital to trying to break down perceptions of it being just someone sitting in front of a screen the whole time, and it really isn't. And I'll talk a bit through that in a moment. And knowing how to use digital tools is really going to be as important as how to write a CV, and it's going to be an absolute essential skill for every young person. So whether you want to move into a career in tech or digital, or you want to work in another sector, actually these are going to be essential skills for the workplace. So I have another role where I lead on digital and creative for the local skills plan in Sussex, and part of that job is I have to talk to employers about what they're looking for in skills in people coming into their businesses. And it's never the technical skills that are actually the top of their list. It's always the what you might call soft skills or power skills or cross transferable skills, but it could be problem solving, the ability to identify issues and think of creative solutions. It could be communication and collaboration, so working effectively with others and expressing ideas clearly. It could be proficiency with tools, AI tools now, and actually knowing how to use tools for productivity. It could be curiosity and adaptability, and it can be teamwork. You could add a whole load of other soft skills on there around presentation and resilience and independent learning and all these kind of things, but they come up all of the time when we talk to employers, and that's what we're trying to replicate through the project that we're running with the Digital Futures. And what I'd encourage all young people and parents to really think about: how do you develop those skills? How do you show an employer that you're developing those soft skills, those cross-transferable skills that are going to make you a really, really useful member of any team you go into? Something that's I think really important is that over the years tech has not had, and digital has not had, the most diverse workforce. This stat here, 26% of tech workers are women. Actually, when I first started doing this sort of research about 3 or 4 years ago, it said 19%. So there is shifting in that, and it is changing, but it's nowhere near where it should be, and it's less at board level, as is the ethnic diversity in tech. 15% from ethnic minority backgrounds, and that's much, much lower at senior levels. In Sussex, the vast majority of those taking ICT courses are boys. And we really want to change that as well and break down some stereotypes about who goes into computing, although there's many, many other kind of pathways you can go into digital. And nationally, less than 10% of the workforce identify as having a disability. So, addressing this and starting to change this isn't just about fairness and equality. It's also about business growth. It's so important that businesses have diverse teams to be successful, to actually understand products they're making for people, and to make good decisions. So it's really important that a digital career is seen as for everyone, so everyone has equal access to these brilliant careers, no matter your background. And from that, we really want to have some diverse role models and inclusive teaching. And this is again part of what we're trying to do with this project is work with people who might not always see tech or digital as their natural pathway. So I thought worth having a little look at what sort of jobs are out there. These are just a few, and there's a few sort of words and names here that might make sense, that might ring bells, that might not. So I'll just run through some of these jobs and what they might mean, and then highlight maybe some of the skills that that you could have. So software engineer and web developer is probably always comes out highest in terms of the number of jobs and number of vacancies when we look at studies around this. It's obviously around coding, logic, but it's also around maths, and it's also about creativity. I'll add to that it's about working in teams and communication to a very, very high level, and that often gets forgotten when we're talking about software engineering and coding. So it's for you if you enjoy solving problems and building things. It's for you if your subjects are maths, computing, design, technology, or even English, because communication and language are so important. A UX designer might not be something that everyone's heard of. User experience design, it stands for. This could be seen as a more of a design job than a tech job. It's about empathy, design thinking, testing, communication. It's about when you use a digital product, an app or a website, what is your experience when you're on that? How does it work for you, and how does it flow for you? And the sort of subjects that you could take on that are art, design, technology, again, psychology, or computing. Product manager, again, a job that isn't really that well known, perhaps, but this sits in between the UX teams, the tech team, and the business team. So this is about leadership, strategy, planning, and teamwork. You have to collaborate with teams, and if you're organized, fair, and like working with others, this could be for you. If your subjects are business, computing, and English, you could be a product manager. Digital marketer, probably the most well-known. It's about creativity, it's about storytelling, data, insight. If you like communicating and making ideas stand out, and your subjects are business, English, media, or computing, you could get into marketing. And this is really coming up as the biggest growth area in terms of jobs is digital marketing. In the studies that I've been working on, it's becoming more and more relevant as everything becomes digital, all marketing becomes digital. There are jobs in digital marketing, and there's a lot of cross-transferable skills to bring into it. Data analyst, again, people don't always understand this, that it's about storytelling, it's about trend spotting. It's not just about sitting with spreadsheets. And there's a whole deep level of skill that goes into data analytics that crosses over with software development, that crosses over with digital marketing. And it's for you if you like finding patterns and asking questions, if your subjects are maths, computing, or science. And there's a whole world of creative tech roles or createch. So that could be content creator, animator, game designer, motion graphics, audio production, covering everything from storytelling, visual design, video editing, and using increasingly AI tools to create audiovisual content. So this is for you if you love creating and want to work in digital media or entertainment or games or this kind of wide range of areas that you go into. So media, art, English, and computing, could be part of that. And a third of jobs in tech are non-technical. So these could be research analysts, again, product manager, marketing manager, a recruiter, customer success, the UX design, or content manager. There's just a whole ecosystem of work out there and careers out there that I really would encourage you to look at and think about whether you're a screen type person or a person type person, whether you're a creative or whether you're a technical or whatever your skills are. There's actually roles for you in digital. And they all have these cross-cutting themes that about communication, about teamwork, curiosity, digital fluency, and being able to continuously learn. Tech is really characterized by moving incredibly fast. The education system isn't designed to keep up with this pace of change, and actually it's really important that continuous learning is part of everyone's mindset who wants to go into this, that your learning is not finished when you leave school. your learning is not finished at year 11, your learning is not finished after A levels, or after your degree, or when you start your first job. And if you talk to any professional at any age, they'll tell you the key thing they have to do is to continue to learn. And I think this is just absolutely crucial, that you're curious about change, that you look into things yourself, and you work with teams. And I should have said at the beginning, we've got a brilliant panel coming up of industry professionals, and experts that we're going to talk to about this, and it'd be great to chat to them in a short while about their view on this, and how young people can get into careers. So AI is something that I'm particularly interested in terms of skills, and it really is an open book for how this is going to affect jobs and affect skills in the future. And I think a lot of young people and parents are quite worried about this, about how this is going to kind of take over jobs. And I think there is definitely a change in jobs. However, I think the key with AI is to look at this as just a superpower tool that is there to help you. And there's so many tools out there that can be used and are now being adopted by digital professionals to help them do things quicker and do things better. And don't view it as a shortcut to the work. View it as a tool to assist your work. And I think if you view it in that way, then you're going to be doing all the right things. So there's all these low code platforms that I was talking about earlier, but tools need people. And understanding these coding logic, design principles, and user experience will help you use AI effectively. And AI can be used badly. Thinking, not just clicking. So there's critical thinking, problem solving, and understanding. And in the future, we're going to need people who use AI. There's no doubt that it's going to be absolutely kind of integral to work. And I'd want to encourage everyone, whether educationalist, parent, young person on the call, to start thinking about how AI will start to be part of your work. And I know in schools it's difficult and you can't always access kind of all the platforms and those things, but I think things will change over coming years. And these key skills that will cut through will be communication and collaboration. It will still be creativity and curiosity. It will still be judgment about when to use AI and when not to. And people who use AI badly will get spotted very quickly. I think everyone can probably spot a bit of ChatGPT content now if you're sent a kind of job application or a letter. And it's still, that personal contact is going to become even more important, that AI is used properly, and not just shortcutting a creative process or something that we're doing. So having those fundamental skills, coding, design, the creative process around communication, around thinking about client need, this is still going to be really, really important to be able to interrogate the work that AI is doing and not just accept what AI gives us. And I think that's a really important thing to consider. So vocational pathways into tech. So that's a little overview of the digital industries. Please do put things in the Q&A. I don't think I can actually see them right now, but if any come in, we'll get to them at the end. So please feel free to ask questions or even make comments. So I'll run you through a little bit about the vocational pathways in Sussex. Some of you may be post-16, some of you may be in school, some of you may be parents, and so on. Hopefully this is useful. So I've broken this down into some sort of 4 pathways of T-levels, apprenticeships, bootcamps, and level 2 and 3 courses. And I'll talk you through each of these and what they are and hopefully where you can access them. So T-levels are relatively new. They're a kind of vocational equivalent to A-levels. They are, I should have put in here, sorry, they're equivalent to 3 A-levels over 2 years. So they replace completely your A-level pathway. And they do get you into university, and they do accumulate UCAS points. They're all about real world learning and practical project work. They're pretty unique in that they've got this industrial employer placement, which is a minimum of 45 days, which you cannot pass your T-level without successfully achieving this placement. So that's a really important part of them, that actually you get a significant amount of time in the workplace. And it helps students gain hands-on skills for career tech and digital careers. So they're currently open to recruitment, and a few of these are brand new this year. So digital production design and development is at East Sussex College Group in Lewes, Eastbourne and Hastings. So that's about programming, coding, digital product life cycles, agile working practices and data handling. Bexhill College Digital Infrastructure and Network Systems for the digital support services. One, cybersecurity, data management and privacy, problem solving of fault diagnosis and health and safety. Craft and design, again at Lewes, Eastbourne and Hastings. Understanding the creative economy, design theory and principles. So this is all about if you want to go into craft, textiles, fashion design and this kind of thing. So one's for the kind of tech production, digital support more like IT support, and craft design more in the sort of creative side of things. There is a media broadcast T-level, but at present I don't think it's been delivered in East Sussex. There is one in Crawley. Hopefully that will come to East Sussex soon. So that's T-levels. Apprenticeships you've probably heard of. Apprenticeships always are a job. You have to have a job, and your employer employs you, and the apprenticeship is the qualification that you do in the workplace. You do earn a wage. It's not always at the same level as a normal wage, and that's the picture nationally. It has gone up for apprentices, but obviously you're earning, and it's partially a learning element. 20% off the job, you are supposed to be in college or in learning, and the other time you're in the workplace, and you're assessed on your workplace activities. So there's all sorts of different apprenticeships: software developer, digital marketer, IT support and data are just a few. There's more. It can go up to level 7 degree apprenticeships, and degree apprenticeships are becoming increasingly popular. You don't get yourself 30-40 grand into debt, but you get a degree. You don't have to pay for them. So they're becoming more and more popular for people who think, I just want to go into the workplace, and I just want to get going. And they are available, and they are being run. Apprenticeships, not huge in number in Sussex, but they are there, and they are growing. So choose this route if you want to have no tuition fees, if you want a paid job, if you want to learn from real employers, build a network and CV from day one. And many apprentices progress on into work in the company that's employed them after they've completed their qualification. So this link here, the National Apprenticeship Service, you can search for Eastbourne apprentices or Bexhill, or wherever you are, and find apprenticeship opportunities near you. I'd encourage you to have a look at the National Apprenticeship Service, and the link is in this slide deck. Skills bootcamps are now a relatively new thing. They're about to be announced who's delivering them in East Sussex any day now. They're for 19 plus only, so you might have a way to go if you're still at school or college, but they're a really good way of fast tracking yourself into employment. They're designed to get people directly into work. A large chunk of the funding is about actually getting people jobs. They're fast, so maximum of 16 weeks, sometimes 12 weeks, sometimes less, and they're really centered on giving you the skills that are needed for work. Sometimes you can get industry certifications through them. Again, they're free to take. Sometimes they're hybrid, sometimes online, sometimes in person, depends on who's delivering them. At the moment, these 5 courses are being offered in East Sussex: data analytics, Adobe and Creative Cloud, digital video skills, cybersecurity and digital marketing. I would suggest, in terms of looking out for announcements about that the Careers East Sussex website probably be the best place to go to, and I'll give you the contact for that in a little bit. And Level 2 and level 3 pathways are your more traditional BTECs, kind of OCR type certificates and diplomas in skills that are probably more familiar to people going into college, and they're still available at level 2 and 3, and still a really good option for building your skills over a period of time. And I'll just put a few providers there, and there will be other private sector independent training providers, but just as a few examples. And I've put the link in the slide deck again for like the Careers East Sussex site, which lists a lot of these courses. And just a final bit of advice is to start experimenting with tech and with digital. The best way to try and learn is by diving in and trying things out. So here's a few sort of examples of tools you can use, which I'll add the links to when we send this out. So Figma for designing websites, Code Academy for learning how to code and doing all sorts of things. Lovable and Cursor I've just been playing with. They build websites in for you from a text prompt. Canva, some of you may have seen, a really easy to use design program. Obviously ChatGPT is an increasingly insane amount of things that can help with your productivity. And Gamma is a presentation tool that I used for this presentation, that you can create high quality presentations from text prompts. I didn't just do it from text prompt, but you can put in some, a list of things you want to talk about, and it will create lovely slides from that. And I'd encourage you to have a look at that. If anyone spent hours using PowerPoint to make presentations, it's really, really good. And also good news, Sussex is a digital growth area, particularly, there's a really excellent tech community in Eastbourne, which we'll talk about in a moment with my guests, and also just down the road in Brighton, the Silicon Brighton and the Evolve conference, and there's stuff going on in Hastings in the Observer building, and there's really good active digital community that you can be part of in Sussex. So that's my info. I hope that wasn't too much, and you've got some capacity left, because we've got a great conversation with our panelists coming up. Can I have my 3 panelists come on the call, come on screen? Hello, Sam. Hello, Donna.
Hi.
Hello, Kim. Hurrah. I hope all our guests can all see you. Thank you for joining us. So Kim, Donna, and Sam all do brilliant work in the tech and digital sector, helping young people and adults access the sector. So I'm not going to introduce them, but we're going to come back to the panel chat in a moment. I'm going to let themselves, each of them, introduce what they do, and then we'll come back and we'll have a discussion around how young people can stand out, what are employers looking for, how is AI changing work and jobs, how do we break stereotypes, and what next steps can young people take. So without further ado, I will introduce yourself, Kim.
Thanks, Dan. Hi, everybody. So, as I said, my name's Kim Byford. I work at the Delaware Pavilion in Bexhill. I'm head of skills, and I run a project called Talent Accelerator, which is all around helping young people get into creative careers across the whole of East Sussex, and that, of course, covers digital careers as well. We're currently working with the Brighton Dome on a bigger project which covers the whole of the Sussex coast called Coastal Catalyst. We work predominantly in work experience, looking for paid opportunities for young people, including early career opportunities, which can be quite difficult across all of the creative industry sectors, some training programs, mentoring programs, variety of events. There are any young people on the call, you may have seen me at an assembly, or parents, hopefully good word was told of me in an assembly at some point. It's about trying to invite young people into what can be quite closed networks. And if you're a parent carer for a young person looking at a digital career, that can very much feel the case. So it's about us trying to open that out a little bit. Our work is really a across a variety of organisations. So they happen within the Delaware Pavilion, but I also work with a wide variety of partners. And the best way to keep track on what we're doing and engage with that is to follow us on Instagram, and also we have a email list, a newsletter. So the QR code that's on screen now, if you take a snap of that, should take you to our page at the Delaware Pavilion. And I will stop there.
Thank you, Kim. Donna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Dan. Hello, everybody. I'm Donna Fielder, and I'm here really with multiple hats on today. So I am Chief Operations Officer for Switchplane, which is a custom software company based here in Eastbourne. And at Switchplane, we are focused on helping businesses to solve their real-world problems using tech. So using custom-built tech solutions, and we use AI as well. And aside from that, I run with my colleagues Chalk Eastbourne, which is the community for tech, digital and creative within Eastbourne. So we bring anyone that works in that industry or wants to work in that industry together. We have a website, chalkeastbourne.com, and we also have a meetup on the first Tuesday of every month at Foundry in Eastbourne, where people come, can hear speakers, meet other people in the industry. And we also have our big annual conference, Eastbourne DigiFest, which you can see our lovely seagull there. So this is going to be its third year, coming up in October, and it's an amazing day where you can hear a range of different speakers talking all about everything from product design, AI, content creation, podcasting. We've got a really good lineup, which we're going to start announcing soon. So me and my colleagues are also busy organising that conference as well, which I'll probably talk a little bit more about it later, but it's a really good opportunity to come and speak to businesses and just learn. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Donna. And yeah, there were loads of schools there last year and young people, so hopefully the same again this year. Thank you. Thanks, Donna. And Sam, over to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sam. I'm one of the co-founders of a company called Eric. Eric is a free app for young people that want to get a foot in the door of the creative industries. We have tens of thousands of opportunities on the app that can help you do anything really to build skills, experience, and meet people as well to get a foot in the door of the creative world. We cover loads of different creative industries. We also do a lot of create-tech stuff as well. So we've got lots of things on there for young people who might be interested in the tech side of the creative industries. But yeah, it's free. Anyone can download it. Parents, if you want to download it too and use it on behalf of your young people, of your kids, like absolutely, please go ahead and do that. So yeah, that's what we do.
Thank you, guys. Right, I'll just bring that back here. So you're all doing amazing work to create opportunities across the whole kind of tech sector. So, coming back to sort of some of our initial questions that we covered, how can young people stand out in a jobs market that can be really competitive in digital, and what can they do to sort of make them stand out to employers and get their first job?
Big question. I'll go first. I actually think, Dan, you've already kind of mentioned it. I think don't wait for someone to give you permission to go out and start learning. The great thing about tech is that it is online. It should be available to you either at home or even at your local library. And so you can get on a computer, start playing around, start gaining skills and build stuff yourself and then list it as part of your portfolio.
Yeah, so be active, get out there and do stuff. Thank you. Donna and Kim, any thoughts?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so and it kind of is in line with the events that we create, is just start getting out there, talking to people that already work in the industry. There's lots of great events. So obviously we've talked about DigiFest, Talk Connect. There's lots of meetups that happen in Brighton as well. Silicon Brighton is a really good organisation to look up. They've got a conference in July, Evolve. There's so much going on now, much more than ever before. And it's a really good time for people just to get out there and start meeting other people that work in the industry. And I know it can be a bit daunting to go and do those things if you've not done them before. But even if you just go along to something and just sit and listen as a first step, because the more you can start to build up that knowledge and learn what it's actually like to work in these type of jobs and start having conversations with people, that's only going to work in your favour, especially as you come round to looking to apply for work. If you've already started to build up a bit of a few relationships with people. So I would say, yeah, just as well as doing, trying out things at home, get out there and start attending some of these events or talking to people. It really does make quite a difference.
Yeah, especially if you're looking for work experience and you bump into you talk to someone at a conference, you're much more likely that you're going to get that work experience when you email them later. Thanks, Donna.
Definitely, and that's where I can really pick up, Dan, is that work experience is essential, really, and it can be really difficult to find. So the more that your young person, or you as a young person, if you're on the call, it's about trying to make sure that you can land that in the right place. So that is going to a variety of things, and just saying hello. Now that can feel quite daunting, but it's about trying to play the game, and it's almost like it's not about you. You can just say hello. And we all do it as adults. We pretend like we do that really naturally. We don't. We've already got a script worked out in our head. So I'd say to any young person, just have 3 questions in your head, and that's one about mostly sort of like something that you want to find out whilst you're there. Secondly, something that you've got of interest to tell that person. And the third one, ask a question about that person, because everyone loves talking about themselves, so they will just pick up from there. So you've got 3 things in your head all the time. But work experience can be very difficult, and as a parent, it can be quite hard, or a carer or a teacher, to try and find those, especially in digital. They can be quite tricky because often you're with high stakes commercial, and people, as much as they want to help the next generation, they obviously don't want people in the offices who they don't have those kind of control over. So in lots of ways, it's about trying to make those connections if you can, but also thinking about, when you're looking for work placements, things that can be adjacent to your areas of interest. So it might be you could find a work placement in marketing in a smaller company that's local to you. You've got a friend, or a mum's, your mum's friend works for you, or whatever. That could be really, really good. And also think about those areas, going right back to the beginning with Dan talking about softer skills that you might be struggling with. So perhaps, some of those sort of teamwork things might be something that you're not so great at. So have a look at a work experience that could really, really build on them, or some of those things that are going to show that you can problem solver, because those are skills that can be done in any sector. And the more you can show them, the more we can build on those. I think a really quick example is I work with someone at the Delaware who's now in our marketing team, and a very, very valued member of staff, who came to us when he was 21, and he decided to not go to university and was struggling to find a way in. He's passionate about Chelsea Football Club. Think what you may about that. And he had his own blog that he'd started when he was 14, and a whole online presence, which we saw in interview, and maybe he couldn't quite describe that, but could show that to us. And that was the thing that got that job for him and has completely boosted his career. So it's about making sure you take that sort of broader view.
Great advice. And again, it's about getting out there, isn't it? And being an active participant, that we kind of talk about a lot in these kind of calls, don't we?
I've got just to add, I've got another sort of positive case study like that, where a couple of years back we had a volunteer at Eastbourne DigiFest, a student of the college, and she was actually, after finding work, she brought her portfolio of work that she'd done designing some websites with her, and showed a few of the companies, and one of them was really impressed and ended up hiring her. So I'm not saying it's always going to, turn into a job, but I think just making sure you are collating that evidence of what you're doing, what you're making, whatever it is, So you do have something to show at an interview or an event. Again, it's going to give you that slight, put you in front a little bit if you've got something that you can demonstrate that you've worked on.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, I'm aware, so some of the young people on the call might be 14, 15, and it might be quite intimidating to go to some of these events. So it's not only about being present like in events, it's about having like examples of work that you've done, taking part in projects like the Digital Futures or other projects, after schools projects, hackathons, like whatever you can take part in them, so that you can talk about things that you've done and show your interest. Thank you, guys. So coming back to kind of what are employers looking for, you're all coming through slightly different angles, you know, in terms of internships, or you are an employer, or you get people work experience. So it'd be great to hear about what you've heard through your work about what employers are looking for. Sam, do you want to kick off?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we work across obviously all the creative industry. So we've got kind of good pan-industry knowledge, I'd say, and specifically around createch. And I think employers are looking for generally the same soft skills. So that will be good communication, resilience. Oh God, what are the other ones? I'll remember them in a second. I don't want to waste time. But, you know, it's kind of the age-old ones that all of us, you know, oldies will have been told as well. So I don't think those have changed necessarily. But I think when it comes to the kind of, I guess, harder skills, it is much more around, can you use Excel efficiently? Can you use, you know, all of the kind of industry tools that you need to know in order to thrive? And those can easily be found online. Lots of them are free as well. So again, it's that thing of just go out and start learning now. I mean, Excel, if you want to know about Excel, TikTok have an amazing subgenre of TikTok about all of this. TikTok Excel, Excel TikTok. So go and have a look for that, and you'll find lots of edutainment content. Excel can be fun, guys. It really can. So I'd say
We're watching that tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Employers, we've definitely heard lots of employers talking more about the actual hard skills. Go out and learn those now. But then on the just to, I guess, another key point that we have definitely heard employers talking about a bit more is that they are beginning to scrap the CV. Scrap is quite an extreme word, but they're less employers are using CVs as a be all end all way of hiring, and they're much more interested in alternative methods. So, you know, don't put so much emphasis on the CV, definitely put more emphasis, I would say, into learning the skills that you will need.
Great advice. Thanks, Sam. Donna, from your perspective, you obviously recruit, you're in a hiring position, you know, you're building teams. What do you look for when
Yeah, so I just literally just come out of a round of hiring actually for a project assistant role. So that's a non-tech role. But it's really key to help us managing all the number of projects that we have, and they'll be doing some customer liaison. So yeah, all the same old problem solving, yes, good customer communication. For us, attention to detail is really big. And we're looking out for that from the off. So have they read the full job ad, and have they answer the question that we put in at the end, and is their CV formatted nicely, has it got good grammar and all that? Because it just tells us that this person, when they're in the role, is going to be really on top of that, because it's quite important in terms of comms going out to customers, and when we're managing projects, making sure nothing is missed. So yeah, attention to detail is a big one. And how people being able to demonstrate how you manage your workload, so how you organize yourself, basically. Doesn't have to be anything majorly fancy, but just that you have some kind of method for managing your workload, and that there is some kind of process. We're looking for people that are quite process driven in our business. Not saying that's for every business, but
how would a young person demonstrate that?
Yeah, so there are some people might choose to use particular tech tools, like we use Notion, or there's Trello, which can help you to break down a project into smaller components, smaller tasks, and that you can kind of then map and plan when you're going to do what. So that shows us, A, that you can organize yourself, but also that you're able to break down a larger project into smaller parts, so that you're continually sort of working towards it, but you're being realistic about what you can achieve when. So that it could be something like that, using a tool like that, and that's something that you could sort of take a look at. Or, you know, it may just be using a calendar and sort of breaking down what tasks you're going to do throughout the day within a calendar, for example. Or it could just be a list. It's got, as long as it's something systematic, because I appreciate that some students will never have, you know, needed to do this in great detail, but everyone's had projects, school projects that they've worked on, talking about how you tackled that, how you broke down that particular task, and or how you delegated things to other, you know, other friends, or in your team at school, for example. So I don't know if I've explained that massively well, but yeah, that's something for us that we're particularly interested in for the sort of project manager roles, particularly.
It's really interesting, and again, maybe that's the sort of thing that you can demonstrate by taking part in extracurricular projects and
Definitely
teams and things like this, that you can evidence that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Donna. Great advice. And Kim, from your side.
I think it's about showing that you are the solution to the problem that employer's got, whether that be to fill a role or whether that's to develop something. And that's often to do with showing that you've got those skills in a really quite concrete way. So online profiles are really important, bringing stuff together so you can show what you can do very quickly. And that can start now. I think the problem is that we young people believe that they have to be given like the license to do something, to say you are this thing. Actually, if a young person just declares that's what they are and starts gathering that all together, a good example of that, I recently met a young person who won a BAFTA for a game just because they simply entered an online competition and it was amazing. So they just said, do you know what, I'm probably good enough for that. And I think it's having that kind of energy, that confidence to say I can do that, and so giving yourself that presence to say that I am that thing. I think also, just to quickly add, is that mostly as well, employers are looking for someone who can develop with a very fast-paced changing industry, and so it's someone who is really adaptable, really able to pick things up quickly, because often, you know, the jobs that people are doing today just didn't exist 10 years ago, and we'll only see that pace increase more and more with technology. So I think for the young people that you might be working with, who might be in your household, or you might be that young person on the call tonight, is it's thinking about those skills that you can develop. And that's quite hard, thinking of, well, I'm developing for a job that doesn't even exist yet, but it was really thinking about those adaptability, fast learning skills. And you can show that in lots of different ways. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the area that you're looking to do that in. You can show that you have those skills in other areas, and you can pick them up in hobbies, sports, all sorts of things.
Excellent, thank you.
And we've got some questions in the chat. I'm just conscious of time, that we've got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, there's some great questions coming in. So I wanted to talk about AI, but maybe we can kind of integrate some of this into some of these great questions. So some of the questions I think we've covered around any advice for getting work experience in year 10. So I think we've spoken about that. A couple of interesting questions which are about maybe how people move into digital careers. One was, I'm going to combine these. Have you always worked in digital or tech roles? And what is one piece of advice you would give to your teenage self? Great question. Sam.
That's a really two very good questions there.
Yeah.
And I actually do think that they kind of go hand in hand. The one piece of advice I would give my younger self is that don't be obsessed with the idea that you're going to have one job forever and it's the goal that you have in your mind when you're 18 years old or younger. You will move around. All of the industries, thanks to the internet, are much more interlinked with each other now. So there's loads of transferable skills, especially around tech. And so, you know, I feel like don't box yourself in. Be flexible, keep an open mind, and you will get into tech if that's what you want to do eventually, I'm sure.
Thanks, Sam. Donna, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to mirror that really. So no, I haven't worked in tech my entire career, but there's always been elements of tech in everything that I've done. So I've worked for a local authority doing community events, and I've worked for a business psychology consultancy, and I've worked for a content creator, but it wasn't, in my mind, it wasn't a tech role. It's just that tech ended up being part of what I was doing. You almost can't avoid it, especially now. So I've kind of meandered to where I am here. And so, yeah, my advice, because I was very worried when I came out of university, that I still didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I was panicking and what should I be doing? So whereas that's actually okay, and just go and try. If you see a job that appeals to you, go for it, and then you move on to something else, and who knows what that's going to lead to, and who knows who you're going to meet. So very much about keeping an open mind, seeing what feels right, seeing what skills you get along the way. Just relax and enjoy it, because it will be okay, and you will you'll have some fantastic opportunities. So yeah, that would very much be my advice as well.
Thanks, Donna. Kim, what advice would you give your teenager?
Oh my God, there's loads of advice I give my teenage self, but in this context, I'll stay with that. I think is probably to not wait to be given license to do something, to just go and do it, and that you don't have to be an expert. You can just start doing something, and that's part of the journey. And I suppose really as well to channel the confidence that you see in some pretty mediocre people, and realize that you don't have to, you don't have to wait to have that confidence. It is basically just a trick, and if you can just trick people to think you're confident enough, you can get yourself in most doors and start most conversations. And I'd echo Donna. I mean, my job now doesn't have tech involved in it, but so many people I meet who work in very technical things have no, that's not where their career started. It started a very, very different place. So what you do now doesn't always end up being what you'll do later. It will inform it, but it doesn't always end up being what you do.
That's definitely something that's come out in a lot of conversations I've had with employers. There's a real windy road to where they've gone to. Often they didn't do tech degrees, even they did English or history or something, and then ended up going into sort of traversing into different careers. And I think that's been that's one thing I've noticed in digital that is really open like that. It's got people who come through from all different angles. So it's not just about what you do at school or college. So even if you're not doing a tech course now, it doesn't mean that you can't work in that sector.
Just super quick, Dan, just to echo what you're saying, I actually do technically run a tech company, and I have never written a line of code in my life. So I think that just goes to show how anyone can do it.
Excellent example. Yeah. And with these low code tools now, even more so. There's a couple of other questions. So as a parent who isn't very tech minded, how can I support my child wanting to study and work in this sector? I mean, if it's okay, I'll give my view, and others have other views, but I'd encourage them to participate, like we've been saying, and to maybe teach you. Come back and ask them to show you the tools that they've been working on. Show a real interest, be involved in what they're doing, and encourage and support them to independently start to research things, and maybe come back and show you some stuff. I don't know if anyone else has got any thoughts on that.
No, I think it's perfect.
Encouragement and support. You don't need to be the expert. Let them explore, and do some exploring yourself, and see what you find. There's a really interesting question here. Someone who has an autistic son my son doesn't present himself very well in traditional job interviews. Social skills aren't great, but he has a strong interest in computer and coding. And when given a task, he completes it really well. So when interviewing candidates for work experience or college places, how do you identify that someone without good presentation skills would be good in a role? I think that's a great question. I'll put that out to you guys.
I'm happy to take that.
Yeah, go for it,
Yeah,
Kim.
to start with, making sure that you support that young person or your young person to go into that interview with their portfolio ready, so their work can show what they can do, so they've got examples of that. Also, it is totally great to ask for questions for interview in advance, and all employers, if you are neurodivergent, have to supply that for you. So it's not a problem to say to the college, work experience placement, or even a job interview in advance, I need those questions in advance, and they will supply them for you. So it gives you time to create that presentation and do those skills, to rehearse it basically, and that works really, really well.
Thanks, Kim. I think that's a great answer. There's an associated question that's coming as well. Alongside the increase in AI and machine learning related job roles, there seems to be a growing appreciation of and ever increasing need for neurodivergence in the tech workforce and the related job opportunities this is creating. Is this something you're seeing within your work and research? And what advice would you give a neurodivergent person who is seeking a career in tech? Same question to the other panelists. I wish we had loads more time. You're absolutely right. You know, there is a need for diversity of thought and neurodivergence in the workforce, and I think that's really recognised, and especially in tech. Is this something you're seeing within your work and research? Yes. Okay, we've got 1 minute, guys. So what advice would you give to a neurodivergent person who is seeking a career in tech?
I've got a really quick bit of advice. I highly recommend checking out Exceptional Individuals. They are actually based in Brighton, but it's a fantastic space to go and learn more about how to, I guess, feel protected and feel supported in a workplace environment, and that includes tech. So go check out Exceptional Individuals.
Thank
My
you.
advice would be to say you won't be alone. Sorry, but you won't be alone. You'll be joining a massive collection, and actually tech and creative industries are full of neurodivergence and we thrive on it. So welcome, come on in.
I'd agree with that. I actually did a bit of work on this with the local skills improvement plan, a big report on like pathways into work for anyone with neurodivergent conditions or learning difficulties or disabilities. Maybe I'll send that out, a link to it as well, because there's some really good organisations that we link to in that report who can help young people and adults get into work. Guys, thank you so much for your advice. It's been brilliant to hear from you and
thank you.
And talk through everything. We didn't really get onto AI, which I really wanted to talk about. Maybe we'll have another one about that. And I did cover it slightly in my slides. And I think we covered kind of practical next steps for people getting involved. Don't forget DigiFest on, was it 15th of October, Donna?
Yes, correct.
Great. So if your school's not going, hassle them and talk to them about going. You can also talk to your school about getting involved in the Digital Futures project next year. It's a 2-year project. So we try and bring all of these things that we've been talking about: project work, teamwork, communication, technical skills, presentation skills, industry links, and everything all under one roof. So every school in East Sussex can apply to be part of that, or college, or independent training provider post 16. So please talk to your schools if you want to get involved in that. And final tips: start now. Build, explore, experiment, explore your options. You don't have to have it all figured out, and embrace opportunity. The digital, it really is full of opportunity, and it's open to you. We've done the Q&A. So I just put up on the screen just a few contact details: Skills East Sussex, the Digital Futures website, the Careers East Sussex website, Tech Native if you're interested in what we do around digital skills. Hopefully we'll have some boot camps to offer soon, and my email if you want to email me directly. And that is my lot. Dead on time.
Just to interject, Dan, we will share this presentation with all those that have attended today, so that you've got access for it going forward, and you've got access to all of the links and details.
Thank you. So thank you for everyone for being on the call. I hope that was useful and informative. Please do get in touch if you have any other questions about the project or anything to do with digital careers. Thank you to Sam, Donna and Kim for being on the panel, and to Hannah, Jenny and the team for helping to facilitate, and Amy. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I hope to see you on one of these again soon in the future. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Dan. Bye.